In just 1 month, we will see the impressive finale of Squid Game, which will take place on June 27th. The long-awaited conclusion to the South Korean phenomenon recently received its first teaser with a host of new footage. Also, the lead actor, Lee Young-jae, spoke about filming the very last game, hinting at the fate of his character. In the next few minutes, we will break down what new theories the first teaser has sparked, and crucially, what to expect from the final season. Anticipating events, we note that there is a lot to expect. The creators have already surprised us repeatedly while maintaining a high level of quality. Therefore, it is quite possible that we are being misled, with some scenes presented as real. This was the case during the promotional campaign for the second season, when Gi-hun came face-to-face with the frontman, but in reality it turned out to be his dream. The first teaser contains many details, some of which do not agree with each other and are likely to also turn out to be a nightmare. However, let's consider everything in order. Let's start with the fact that the teaser is literally filled with various symbolism. It opens with a scene where a group of guards carries a black box with a pink ribbon, in which Gi-hun is located. In this way, the organizers wanted to show other players what consequences a riot, in which only one survivor remained, would entail. But besides this, the box resembles a coffin in which the main character lies. For viewers, this is a definite hint that Gi-hun's fate will be tragic. The creator of this series, Hwang Dong-hyuk, previously hinted that in the final episodes, player 456 would become a completely different person after the death of his best friend. Lee Young-jae noted in a recent interview that the final game was the most difficult to perform and very emotional. Of course, it was unlikely that Gi-hun's story would end happily. He is a key figure in the series, and before the release of the third season, one could assume that he would survive because the plot required his presence. However, now we are talking about the finale, therefore, the plot will no longer acutely need him. It was assumed that Gi-hun's storyline could develop in 3 directions. He would either die in the games, like many others before him, or die saving other players and stopping the games, or become the new frontman. But now, it seems obvious that the hero's fate will be decided inside the game, not outside it. And he will most likely not get out alive, sacrificing himself to stop the games, similar to Tony Stark's self-sacrifice. This will be a tragic conclusion, and the symbolic coffin, as well as the actor's interview with the director, clearly indicate this. From the first shots, it is clear that Gi-hun is initially unconscious, but at a certain moment, he comes to, lying in the same box. However, in the next scene, it can be seen that he is already sitting, handcuffed to a cot. And here, the first script question arises. If he was brought in a box and left in it, then at what point was he handcuffed? It can be assumed that after waking up, he again tried to organize a riot, and to prevent this, he was handcuffed. In addition, he was deprived of the right to vote regarding the termination or continuation of the games. This is evident in the same scene because he is the only one who remained on the sidelines during the voting. And in the shot with the choice of red and blue balls, he enters the room last to take the only one remaining. At the same time, all the players turn to him in surprise that he was even allowed to participate. Thus, the organizers also deprived him of the right to choose, forcing him to play another game. By the way, since we're on the subject, if you remember, the post-credit scene of the second season unequivocally pointed us to a new game involving 2 giant dolls. One of them was Young-hee, and the second was a boy, Cheol-soo. Both dolls also appeared on the first poster for the third season. It would be logical to assume that we are in for either a new, more complex variation of the game, red light, green light, or a game involving climbing a mountain. However, the first teaser focuses on a completely different mass competition. Probably, Young-hee and Cheol-soo were left for later, to fill the middle of the season. In the new game, participants are randomly given a red or blue ball from a machine reminiscent of those that dispense gumballs. Thanks to this, the players are divided into red and blue teams, which will confront each other. Some details indicate that knives or other bladed weapons may be used in this game. Each participant receives a box, the contents of which are not disclosed. However, the red and blue boxes have different symbols, on which the sharp corners of the triangle point in different directions. In the player's room, there is also an entrance in the shape of a knife, indicating what the next round might be. A few frames later, the players move through narrow corridors resembling a labyrinth. Some are preparing for a duel or look as if they have eliminated someone. At the same time, in one of the scenes behind Gi-hun, a digital scoreboard with a countdown can be seen. Symbolism is also present here because at the moment we are shown the main character, the time on the scoreboard has stopped at 4 minutes 56 seconds, which coincides with player number 456. All this indicates that we are in for a hunter-prey style game. The red players will receive weapons and enter the labyrinth through an entrance shaped like a knife. The blue participants will act as prey, and for them, the entrance to the labyrinth is designed in the form of a keyhole. Opponents will enter one by one from each team to equalize the chances of victory. The red player's goal is to find the opponent within 5 minutes and eliminate them. The blue player's goal is to hide from the hunter in the labyrinth for 5 minutes and thus achieve victory. In this case, after the time expires, the guards themselves will eliminate the unsuccessful hunter. At the same time, it is not yet clear what is contained in the blue boxes, probably something that will help avoid a collision or distract attention. Also, apparently blue players will not necessarily have to run away, and it will be possible to win in another way. This is indicated by a shot of player 120, and she is clearly preparing to offer resistance. This is in the style of Netflix, where a participant who stands out by gender is presented as strong and different from others. There is also an opinion that balls contain an addition for this game. They look as if they can be opened, and inside they contain roles that give players certain power. This is indicated by a shot in which 4 blue players are literally begging a fifth for something. Most likely, Hunter and Prey will be the first game of the 3rd season, because there are still quite a few players left. Considering that the teams are divided equally, exactly half of the players will not survive. Thus, the authors will quickly leave only the key heroes. As for the other games, there will be at least 3 more, for which there have already been indications. The first is precisely that game with the young Hee doll, and indications for the other 2 were located in the participants' bedroom. In the first season, thanks to the drawings on the walls, it was possible to determine which games were still left. The second season follows the same principle, although not as obviously. After the riot, the walls were exposed, and games resembling monkey bars and a chessboard became visible. For the finale, monkey bars does not seem like a very suitable option, as it is designed more for physical strength. But chess with the participation of players, where human lives will be at stake, this is a very successful solution. Therefore, the theory that in the finale the frontman and Gi-hun will play chess against each other using participants as pieces on a chessboard still prevails. The game organizers will thus place responsibility for the lives of the remaining on the main character and bring his drama and struggle to a climax. However, there will be enough tragic events even before this moment. Everyone who watched the teaser to the very end heard a child's cry coming from a black background. Jun-ho was in the late stages of pregnancy in the 2nd season, so the birth of a child was inevitable. In the 2nd season, the frontman showed concern for her, and it even seemed that the game organizers had enough humanity left to send her home. However, after the uprising, everything seems bleak for her and all the other surviving characters. The organizers will be more aggressive and will think twice before showing mercy to any player. Since the child's cry is heard at the end of the teaser, it seems that Jun-ho does not expect anything good. If the child is born during the games, the options for the mother can be varied. Influential observers might take her child away and force her to finish the games to get him back. And other players with high moral principles will most likely try to protect her so that she gets out alive. At least, this would emphasize the value of life and the humanity of the participants despite the horrors of the games. However, the series has already misled viewers, presenting nightmarish scenarios, only for it to later turn out that it was a character's dream. The crying child may be part of one of these nightmares, shown only to alarm viewers in the teaser, because it is now unknown when Jun-ho will give birth, and this could happen after the games are over. By the way, the teaser also shows the return of influential observers, who not only watch the games but have even organized a meal together with the frontman. This emphasizes their importance because in the first season, they limited themselves only to drinks and various entertainments. Considering that this is the final season, influential observers of the highest rank have probably arrived, who are the main sponsors of the games. By eliminating them, it will be possible to prevent all further recruitment of players and stop the games. That is why we see a number of scenes in which Detective Jun-ho still finds the island. First, he is shown with scuba gear, and a frame later, he is already bursting in with an automatic rifle into one of the richly decorated rooms. From a plot point of view, this should happen quite soon, as he is one of the main characters and does not intend to spend the rest of the series aimlessly swimming in the surrounding waters. The final season consists of only 6 episodes, so there is no time for delay. In addition, the teaser showed us an unknown player with a chip behind his ear. Most assume that this was player 246, who came to the games for his daughter. His death was not directly shown, and he could have ended up on the island because he was cooperating with a third party to also stop the games. The teaser also focuses on the fact that a mother and son will end up on opposing teams. Gamja will be on the red team, and Ion Sig will be among the blues. There is a possibility that they will be forced to play against each other to enhance the ruthlessness of the games. The teaser also included a scene with a sobbing Gamja, who, being a hunter, apparently defeated her son, but most likely he himself contributed to this because he felt guilty before her. As you can see, the final season will be very eventful and dramatic. Considering that we are in for only 6 episodes, events will unfold rapidly. Write in the comments what else interesting you noticed in the teaser, and what other theories about the finale you have heard. That's all for today, friends. See you in new videos very soon.